Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on DBMS. In our last class, we discussed about the attributes, and today we will see that what all types of attributes are there and how do we represent them in ER diagram. So the very first type is simple attribute and the composite attribute. Simple attributes are the ones that cannot be divided any further, or composite attributes are the ones that can be divided further. For example, in this ER diagram, we can see the student roll number. Now, this roll number cannot be divided any further, so we can say this is the simple attribute. However, if we talk about the name, now this name can be divided further into first name and the last name. So, this name attribute becomes the composite attribute, or in other words, we can even say that this name attribute comprises of two attributes, that is first name and the last name, hence it becomes the composite attribute, right? The next type of attributes is single valued attribute and the multi-valued attribute. As the name states, in single valued attributes only single value will be allowed. However, in multi-valued attributes there will be multiple values possible. For example, over here in the roll number, if we say a student has a roll number, now a student can have only one roll number, right? So that becomes the single valued attribute. Now with this we have to understand that I said roll number is the simple attribute, and now we are saying that roll number is single valued attribute. So with this we can understand that if we are categorizing one attribute in one of the category, it does not mean that it cannot be categorized with the another category. So that is possible. Now another thing, we have seen roll number is the single valued attribute. Now however, if we talk about the phone number of the student, so we know that a student can have multiple phone numbers, right? For one student there can be multiple phone numbers available, so that phone number becomes the multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attribute in the ER diagram is represented with the double ellipse like over here. Now, the next type of attribute is stored attribute and the derived attribute. Stored attribute are the ones that we store into the database. However, derived attributes are those which on the basis of the stored attribute whose value we can derive. For example, we can see over here, now student has a date of birth. If this date of birth is stored into the database for a student, then we can very easily derive the age of the student, right? So that is why the date of birth becomes the stored attribute. However, age becomes the derived attribute. And why do we need such kind of attributes? Because in stored attributes, why do we need stored and the derived attributes? Because sometimes it is not important, or we can say sometimes what happens, the values changes with time. Over here we can have an example for that. If today I'm storing the value of the student, I'm storing the record of the student, today the student age can be 17, but now that age is going to change with the year, right? Now later on when I'm trying to have the value of that student, so now his age is different. So rather than storing the age, we can store the date of birth of the student, and now with the date of birth, whenever we are having the data extracted, we can calculate the age. That is why we do not store the derived attribute into the database. We store the stored attribute, and with the stored attribute we can derive the value. Now the derived attributes are represented with the dotted ellipse in the ER diagram, as we can see over here. So that was all about the types of attributes. If I could help you with the understanding of this topic, hit the like button, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for latest updates. Thank you.